Let's be honest about a common condition. Almost everyone wants financial freedom. Every morning, millions of people wake up, go to work, and spend a few minutes daydreaming about what life would be like with real wealth. But there is a massive gap between daydreaming and actually acquiring money. Simply wanting something to happen rarely moves the needle in reality. Society conditions us to believe that crossing that gap requires external intervention. We're taught to wait for a lucky break, an inheritance, or the perfect opportunity to fall into our laps. That approach treats wealth as an accident. Relying on hope keeps you in a passive state, paralyzing any ability to change your own economic reality. A century ago, an author named Napoleon Hill set out to solve a specific problem: why some individuals succeed while the vast majority fail. He approached this as an empirical puzzle. Over the course of 25 years, Hill interviewed and tracked the habits of 500 self-made millionaires. Looking across that massive dataset, the idea of a lucky break fell apart. Statistically speaking, luck had almost zero influence on their financial trajectories. Instead, he found that every single person in that elite group possessed a calculated psychological trait, something the average person lacks. Hill's findings suggested that wealth follows a set of internal protocols. He spent the rest of his career mapping out the specific steps these 500 individuals use to generate their results. Hill summarized his thesis: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It's a mechanical formula with 3 interlocking parts. The first component is to conceive, which requires moving past vague desires. You cannot simply want more money. The individuals in Hill's study set precise, defined targets. They knew exactly, down to the dollar, what they were aiming for, rather than relying on open-ended hopes. Unless a goal is explicitly defined and measurable, the human mind cannot map a functional, step-by-step path to reach it. Once the target is set, the second component engages: belief. This introduces Hill's core concept of the burning desire. This is different from simple optimism. A burning desire is an obsession backed by absolute faith that the goal will be reached. Hill noticed a distinct linguistic pattern among these successful individuals. They stopped using the phrase "I'll try" entirely. In every instance, they replaced it with the definitive mandate, "I will." That shift signals a total psychological commitment to the outcome. This unyielding belief acts as the required psychological fuel. Without it, the mind instinctively quits at the first sign of resistance. The final component of the formula is achieve. Internal thoughts only begin to shape reality when they collide with the friction of the real world. Having absolute faith is only half the battle. It must be constantly coupled with relentless physical action. When that action meets inevitable failure, persistence becomes the bridge. It connects the internal obsession with external wealth creation, pushing through the chaos and volatility of the actual economy. A defined goal and absolute faith do nothing if the engine of physical execution is never turned on. When you break it down, success loses its mystique. It is a logical, sequential process of conceiving a target, building belief, and executing relentlessly. Viewed through Hill's lens, these stacks of currency are the physical byproduct of the 3-step formula. They are the result of an internal operating system functioning as intended. Success becomes a deliberate construction of the mind, rather than a stroke of luck. But there is one final rule required to trigger this entire psychological sequence. You cannot wait for financial security to arrive before you decide to adopt the mentality of a wealthy person. To truly activate the formula, you have to start thinking rich long before you actually are rich. The internal reality has to transform first. Once the blueprint is in place, the external world simply follows the instructions it is given.